it is a matter of fair, and you can deny it all day long. Nobody has one time shown me how it's fair to take this company over when particularly, just a minute, no. Particularly when you're sitting here telling me we're going to run it the same, we're going to have the same people, we're going to do everything the same. I think we just told our listeners that we don't need heightened security. We don't need anything different because we're going to run it the same. If we're going to run it the same, let's go on with the priorities that we've already accepted in Lexington. Let's use the energy that's in this room. Let's take these great businessmen who are opposing each other. Let's join forces and go do something constructive with it. You said it yourself. It's going to be the same people running it the same way. Because it's going to be that way, let's not buy it.
And the answer to both of your points is, one, local authority here in Lexington where we can drive down the street and meet with the people who make decisions instead of having to pass them upstream through layers of hierarchy to a company owned by shareholders who only care what their monthly statement looks like and not what our water needs in Lexington look like. The second point goes to fairness. You as a businessman know that I assume, and you'll tell me if my assumption is wrong, you know that if you get the fair price for your product, you've had a fair day of business. And at the end of the day, this is not a takeover. This is a purchase. It may be a forced purchase, but it is a purchase.
Oh, come on.
It's using the power of the courts. Come on. It's using the power of the courts to enforce an acquisition.
Foster, you're not going to tell me you think Lexington is so stupid that a forced purchase is any different than a takeover. Come on, let's just stop right there. Is a forced purchase any different from a takeover?
A takeover is when I take your car and leave you stranded on the road. A purchase is when I give you the fair market value for that vehicle, and you have the cash to do with what you want.
Let me follow up on the oversight, Mr. Ackerman. The Louisville Water Company just announced that effective on January 1st, their water rates would go up 6.5%. The Louisville Water Company does not usually hold public hearings on rates. It's just approved by the Water Board. And you talk about a legal water authority, local water authority rather, that would control the water company if the city owned it, and even suggested that maybe you could live with removing rate authority from council. Would there be public hearings for people to be able to respond if the city owned the water company and the council did not decide raising the rates?
You have walked into an absolutely beautiful argument for local control, Cruiser. Because as a governmental entity, the Water Authority would be subject to Kentucky's open meetings and open records laws. And there would be open meetings on all of these issues, not like the closed-door board of directors meetings in the water companies today.
Go ahead. Mike, do you have a response?
You know, when you're an entity like the Lexington Center, their board meetings are very open. Nobody goes. When the airport authority meets, it's an open meeting. Almost nobody ever goes. We talk about private corporations meeting behind closed doors as if that is some evil thing to have happen. It's not an evil thing to have happen. So I guess what I'm trying to figure out is when the water company or the water authority decides to raise rates, we're assuming that that is going to be a public and transparent event. The fact that it's approved in a board meeting is going to be an open and transparent event. The decision of the employees or the authority that we appoint to run this, the reasoning behind it and the thinking behind it, it's all a done deal by the time it gets to this open meeting, just like it is in council meetings. So when we say it's going to be more transparent, and I'm watching people from the newspaper look at me like I'm nuts, but you have to know better that these decisions are all made long before they come to a public meeting. The public meeting is simply the face of it. So let's not pretend it's going to be more transparent. It just isn't.
I need to interrupt here, but we will pick it up in about 5 minutes. We're going to break for news at the top of the hour, and then we have another hour of questions and discussion about the water issue with Vice Mayor Mike Scanlon and Foster Ackerman Jr. live from the main main branch of the Lexington Public Library in downtown Lexington. This is Cruiser, your host. We will continue after the news on News Talk 590 WBLK.